Ghost Particles and Singing Ice, 11 Wild Antarctic Stories from 2018. This is by Mindy Weisberger, Senior Writer, Life Science, and this was an article just came out yesterday. Strange Icy Stories. Few forms of life can survive this harsh, punishing condition of the Antarctica cold. And yet this icy landscape is an astonishingly rich resource for scientists seeking to understand what makes our planet tick. Decades of research reveal that Antarctica is full of surprises. The 2018 research was no exception. From subterranean earthquakes to bizarre subatomic particles to buried ice highways, and we've even found at least 90 volcanoes sitting under Antarctica, and also an underwater ocean, an under ice ocean. And all this, of course, this is ongoing exploration there. And we have the surprise was the cosmic particles. High energy particles streaming from Antarctica's ice, and scientists don't know what they are. Particles shooting upward from the ground in Antarctica towards the sky. And they say that it could be cosmic rays that travel to Earth from space, blasting through the planet and come back out the other side, that is, through Antarctica. However, the known cosmic particles aren't supposed to make it through the Earth without bumping into something and decaying, and for that reason, the scientists suspect that these particles were of a previously unknown type that defies the standard model, the prevailing description of how all particles behave. In September, researchers revealed that there were even more examples of this unusual particle behavior in Antarctica than previously suspected. These oddball particles had much less than 1 in 3.5 million chance of being part of the standard model, according to what the scientists reported. And then we had the singing ice. You can't hear it, but the ice that covers Antarctica sings. Researchers unexpectedly discovered the sound, which is not audible to human ears, while investigating other aspects of ice using seismic sensors. Recordings gathered by 34 sensors over 2 years revealed that when wind whips over the ice of Antarctica, over the surface, the topmost layer would vibrate almost constantly, producing a humming at a frequency of about 5 hertz. The researchers also found that certain conditions could affect the pitch of the hum, such as an unusual warming event that took place in January 2016, and also seasonal storms that reshape the snow dunes. And then, of course, we know that Antarctica was a lost continent. Scientists recently discovered something surprising under Antarctica's ice: the remains of ancient continents. Researchers compiled a new map of Antarctica from satellite data taken from 2009 to 2013, and they found that East Antarctica was a composite of large blocks of Earth's crust known as cratons, which were left behind from earlier continents. Their findings recall Antarctica's history as part of Gondwana, the supercontinent that broke up about 180 million years ago. And some like it hot. Antarctica is exceptionally cold, but underneath its icy cover lurks a source of surprising heat. And as we know, we said the 90 volcanoes. The crust under East Antarctica is relatively thick compared to the crust under West Antarctica, which means that the bottom of the eastern region's ice sheet would be insulated from heat of magma below the surface. Scientists recently detected unexpected high qualities of melted water under East Antarctica's ice sheet, suggesting that the heat underground must be especially intense. It's not clear why this zone is a hotspot, but researchers suspect that the heat is produced by hydrothermal energy emanating through a crack in the crust underneath the ice, of course. And then we have the missing lakes. A network of lakes that was long thought to exist under Antarctica's recovery glacier may have disappeared. The lakes were thought to rest between the bottom of the glacier and the continent's bedrock, but a radar survey failed to produce any evidence of hidden lakes beneath the ice. Previous satellite data suggests that there were 4 big lakes and 11 smaller lakes in the area, but scientists found just one single zone that could be a lake, and it could also just be an expanse of swampy soil, the study authors report. And also, getting taller, Antarctica's bedrock is on the rise, and the lift is happening more quickly than ever. Vanishing ice may be the culprit, as melt lightens the load of the underlying bedrock, and over time the force of rolling magma underneath the rock nudges it upwards. While the rise of supporting bedrock could increase stability in the ice sheet above that bedrock, there's a downside to this upward motion. Because the ground has shifted in recent years, satellite measurements of ice loss have likely been inaccurate, meaning researchers may have underestimated the rate of disappearance of ice by up to 10%. We also have slip sliding away. Over 25-year survey, staggering 3 trillion tons of ice vanished from Antarctica. About 1/3 of that ice disappeared all at once when an iceberg the size of Delaware broke off the Larsen C ice shelf in July 2017, weighing an estimated 1 trillion tons. It was the largest iceberg in recorded history. In a new study, scientists tracking changes in Antarctica's ice over time, as shown in 3 types of satellite measurements, tracking the ice's mass and volume and the speed of glacial flows into the ocean, researchers found that the rate of ice loss has been rising over the past 5 years. And also, as we said before, volcanic heat. Buried underneath Antarctica's ice is the hidden reservoir of heat generated by the volcanic vent, and the fastest melting glacier on the continent, Pine Island Glacier, is feeling the heat. Its melt likely spurred by magma deep underground. Though scientists can't see the magma directly, they identify it through chemical fingerprints that turn up the seawater samples. The unusual chemistry of the melted ice flowing down the glacier suggests that there has been a source of volcanic heat upstream. It warmed the ice from below and accelerated ice melt into the Amundsen Sea. Penguin mummies. Mummies are usually associated with hot deserts, but in 2018, scientists described the discovery of hundreds of mummified penguins found on East Antarctica's Long Peninsula in 2016. Though Antarctica is very cold, it's still classified as a desert because it receives so little precipitation, and the dry, cold conditions effectively mummified the dead birds, many of which were chicks. But the penguins didn't all die at once. Radiocarbon dating revealed the age of the mummies, and it turned out that many of the birds died over decades and during 2 different periods, 200 years ago and also 750 years ago. Both of those events were likely caused by habitat disruption from extreme weather. Hidden earthquakes in Antarctica. New evidence recently reveals that hundreds of earthquakes may be shaking things up under Antarctica's ice. Scientists have long thought that Antarctica experienced next to no seismic activity, unlike Earth's other continents, based on data from seismic centers on the ground, but a new study says that earthquakes rumble to life deep under the Antarctic ice as frequently as they do anywhere else on Earth. For the study, researchers deployed arrays of sensors across the continent, and they detected earthquakes in remote locations where seismic activity had never been noted before. Their readings spotted 27 small earthquakes that ranged from a range of 2.1 to 3.9 magnitude on the Richter scale. And then you have the ice highways. 2 major regions in Antarctica, the West Antarctic ice sheet and the East Antarctic ice sheet, are connected by enormous valleys across the continent. These canyons, now called Foundation Trough and Putexent Trough and Offset Rift Basin were unknown and undescribed until, this recent survey. Foundation Trough is the longest of the canyons, measuring 217 miles, or 350 kilometers long, and 22 miles wide. These highway valleys enable the flow of ice from the larger and more stable East Antarctic ice sheet to its smaller neighbor. This was originally on Life Science, and it's yesterday's report. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.